Welcome to the podcast. We got my man Kenny JTB in the building, and we're going to be talking about all the things. We're going to be talking about how he got started, his backstory, the journey that he's been on, and then what he's up to now, how he's been able to leverage social media without buying leads to make a six-figure income as a life insurance agent. And one of the things that really stood out to me as a marketer was you were doing day in the life content as a life insurance agent. And that was like, if you type that in, it's you and one other young lady that ranks at the top for that video. And I thought that was awesome. So that's how I came across you. And I've just been following you for a while, and to entrepreneurs out there too, never giving up, right? Play the long game. This podcast, even the second one, which is how bad I wanted to do this, it's been a year in the making. And finally, things lined up. And shout out to Sherry Somersbell, my girl, for having a conversation with you. And so now is just the perfect time. So without further ado, I've been on this mission to explain to life insurance agents now more than ever. The FCC has kind of come down on some stuff about leads. We're coming up on the 1st of March. So all the old ways of doing things are kind of going away. So what does that mean? Well, Alex Branding made a post that said $600 million are going to be going from lead vendors into more advertising online. So the competition is going to go up, and people are going to be using things that used to work 2 years ago. So what's the way for life insurance agents to stand out? They need to have a personal brand, right? They need to have a social presence. So it would be smart to have somebody on, none other than my man Kenny J, who has an amazing personal brand, and this is how he's able to generate leads and clients for his business. Kenny J, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
For sure. Well, yeah, man, let's dive back in, man. I know we kind of went through this before, but take me back to the beginning. Like, how did you even come on this journey of being a life insurance agent in the first place?
Yeah, so originally I was with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, like their management trainee program, straight out of college, just all the hope in the world. They sold me this great dream, and I was there for about 2 years. COVID happened. I could tell they didn't value their employees because we were still coming into the office. We were, facing consumers, and it was kind of dangerous in my opinion. It was COVID. We didn't know what was going on. So eventually they gave people the option to either go home or stay. And that was like my ticket out. I knew once I left, I would never come back. So I was out of work for about 10 weeks, and it was such a freeing feeling. And I know I wanted to do something that I was actually able to help and educate people, and insurance kept coming up, and something that I could do remotely, something I didn't have to go into an office every day and help people with. So I kept researching, and insurance just kept coming up. I went on social media platforms to look at, what insurance agents were doing, and it wasn't a lot of them up there. So then I decided, when I do get my license, I'm going to record the journey of me being a licensed life insurance agent. And the rest is history.
Yeah, for sure. So walk me through those, the first 90 days of being a life insurance agent. How did that go for you?
So I started at State Farm. I was there for about 4 or 5 months because before I opened my own, a lot of people don't know that State Farm is one of the top life insurance agents or life insurance companies in the country. And I've done my research and I verified that. I'm like, wow, I did not know that. So I wanted to go somewhere where, the companies were performing well. And I wanted to learn how to and how to not run an agency. And it was very difficult at first, just trying to get into the swing of things, having a lack of training. But then I realized that, in the life insurance game, it is a people and relationship building business. And once I learned that, I kind of just took off with the life insurance. So the first 3 months was a lot of trial and error, but I spent a lot of time just educating myself on the products, because you can't be a great salesperson, a great educator, if you don't even know what you're selling or representing.
Yeah, for sure. And so, what was the strategy? How were you able to start to get clients? What were you doing?
So social media. So when I first went to State Farm, I made a post on LinkedIn saying, I'm going to State Farm, and it got over 300,000 hits. I still don't even understand why to this day it got so many hits, but I was realizing that a lot of people were reaching out to the State Farm office because of my post. And that's when I realized how powerful social media was.
Right.
So, okay, I don't know if you can hear me. So that's how I realized how powerful social media was. So I realized I'm not going to stay here for a year, year and a half. I'm going to stay here for 5 months, learn the necessities I need to run an agency, and then get out. So once I left there, January 2nd of 2021, I started my agency and I just blasted it on social media. And from there, people just were very receptive. People were reaching out and wanting quotes. So from the beginning, I always had people reaching out because even when I was at State Farm, I wasn't marketing myself as a State Farm team member. I was marketing myself as Kenny, the insurance agent. So no matter where I went, they would follow the brand.
So I'm curious because there's a lot of life insurance agents that are like, no, man, I just need to buy leads or I can use my company. They've been around 100 years. Like, where did you even have the consciousness or the wherewithal to realize that you're a business inside a business and to do this branding thing? Because when you do branding, sometimes like you're not going to make the sale that day, right? Or you're not going to get the lead that day. So it's kind of a long game, right? So where did that premise come from and an idea that you needed to build your own personal brand in addition to that? So you introduced them to Kenny, the insurance agent first, and then they get introduced to State Farm or what other company they're with.
Because when I was at State Farm, they were buying leads and I saw like the conversion rate, at least my conversion rate was very low because I wasn't able to really build rapport with these people. They were price shopping. They wanted the cheapest coverage possible. Then they were canceling 2 to 3 months later. So I knew in my business, I wanted to do just good business for the long game and people that would stay with me from year to year. So that's when I realized I needed to take another approach. And social media, I had a good following on social media from people following me from YouTube and on Instagram. So why not start with them? Start with people that were in my warm market, start with people that already knew who I was and my integrity, and then go from there.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense to me because I came from the financial advisor side of it, and a lot of the business that we did was from warm market referrals, word of mouth type scenario. And I'm thinking, well, there's 8 billion people on the planet right now, 2 billion daily active users on social media. So a quarter of the human race is on this platform. Well, if I'm having a one-to-one conversation, what about if I had that conversation ahead of time, right? And then people decided if they wanted to work with me and made up their mind before they actually hopped on a call with me. And then social media has everybody on it. So it's word of mouth on steroids. I don't need to figure out who to show this to. I just need to have the right thing to say and social media will figure it out. I'm like, well, this is a no-brainer. So I can use leverage, right? Most insurance agents are jumping from IMO to IMO, lead vendor to lead vendor, source to source. And it's like, you need to be the source. You need to introduce them to you. They need to know your story, your background, what it is that you do and your expertise. And I feel like a lot of insurance agents are struggling because not enough people know who they are and what they actually do. I can tell you so many times people are like, oh, I didn't even know you sold insurance, right? It's like, well, no wonder nobody's buying from you because they didn't even know.
Exactly. And that's so true with like social media and just getting out there because when people reach out to me, they already know my story. They know that I've been selling insurance. They know that I'm knowledgeable because of the content that I put out. So now it's more so what product is best for you and closing the deal opposed to me having to, sell my brand, sell who I am as an agent. You already know all that. And that's why I just work off of people reaching out from social media and referral partners because I don't want to ever have to cold call people and try to convince you who I am. And I was telling someone the other day, it's very helpful. I have over 180 videos on YouTube about insurance. So if you have any questions or want to question my brain, go up there and just see all this quality content that I've been posting consistently since 2020. So,
yeah. And there's a saying in the online space that for every hour that somebody consumes of your content is worth $1,000. So if you have all of these assets online and they handle the many misconceptions that you have in a one-to-one setting about what you do or the product that you serve, if you're able to handle objections ahead of time that you get on calls, which is the best one, it's like you get on a call and you have these objections. That's a great video to create. And then you pretty much pre-sell them on the mechanism of the vehicle that you have by showing them the 5 benefits of what the wealthy use in order to transfer wealth and like all these things. When you kind of package that way, right? When you hop on a call, most people don't have these 3 things. They should be sold on you and your story. They should already know a little bit of your story. They should be sold on the track record and your expertise, and they should already be sold on the mechanism. When you have those three things with people hopping on the call, it's inevitable that they're going to buy. You just have to go through the process and make the economics work. And that's so powerful. I feel like so many times as an insurance agent, we're just so used to having this one-on-one conversation. And it's like, well, what about if all of those things that you're educating and convincing and training people on, that you had them ahead of time, that was already handled. So when you hop on a call, you can just ask questions. And we use the reverse selling system in our Profit Creator program, where you can ask questions in a specific manner to where you can ultimately get to the end of the call. It's not, it's objectionless close, where you're just having a conversation just like this. And I think that's such a better way to spend your time as a life insurance agent, right? You don't feel like a professional chasing people, convincing people with the leads, right? To pick up the phone, convincing them to book the appointment, convincing them to keep the appointment, convincing them to buy the insurance on the call, convincing them to keep the insurance after they buy. Like, all of that is convincing. And it's because you don't have those three things that I mentioned before that you need in order to be seen as an expert in your field or a trusted advisor.
No, for sure. And I feel like being on social media as well helps your credibility, because I mean, a lot of life insurance reps have a bad name, because they're selling a product that they're not really educated on and so forth. But when you're posting a lot of knowledge and you're posting day in the life videos, they have a look in on your life. And one thing that I always get on the phone is, you just seem so genuine. And I said, because I am, I do this because I want to help people. I'm not just in life insurance for the money. Of course, that's great. But, that wasn't my reason for getting into it. I've seen, family members pass and they did and didn't have life insurance. And I see how it goes from both ends. And especially people that are minorities, people that are Black that don't have life insurance. It's definitely my passion, just educating them on it. And I always tell people, I'm not a salesman, I'm an educator. And I put all the information in front of your face and let you decide to make an educated decision on if you need or if you don't need life insurance. 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with it. But when you're not pushing it on them and just telling them, this is the information, this is your life, they go ahead and go with life insurance.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because there's a couple things in there. So one, speaking from a Black person also, like knocking on doors 7, 8 o'clock at night in certain areas. I live in Tennessee, and this is open carry state. So there ain't none of that kind of going on, just showing up, knocking on somebody's door 7, 8 o'clock at night, putting myself at risk for a misunderstanding of whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's not an efficient way for me to do things. But mostly content can get me in places and get me in front of people that physically I can't get to. But then also it's leverage. You can create one video, and even if it only got 100 views, which you'd be like, oh, that didn't do anything. How long would it take for you to make 100, to reach, not dial 100, actually talk to 100 people for a life insurance agent? You can have one video that you create one time that can reach 100 people. What about 1,000? What about 10,000? And so having those assets is important. But then the next thing is I've been studying Daniel Priestley lately, and he has this book called The Key Person of Influence. Shout out to Myron Golden. He told me about this book. And in this book, he talks about income follows assets, which got me to thinking. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense, because the wealthiest people in this world have either the most assets or they have the best ones, right? The richest people do, like with the tech companies, they got the best asset where a quarter of the human race is, or they have the most real estate, or they have the most businesses, or Warren Buffett. He owns the top companies in the world. He has the best and the most of them. So I'm like, okay, well, content is an asset. It's an attention and information asset. So I'm like, well, I can create those, and now I have an asset. So if I create enough of those, like now I have assets that's leveraged. I'm like, oh, okay. So I need to create assets and see content as an asset that over time, you said you got 100 and some odd videos. Those are all information assets. And the reason why I'm saying all of that is because the reason why most insurance agents and even 9-to-5 people struggle is because their only asset is their ability to do the work in order to make money. So if you only have one asset, which is you, that's why you struggle financially for the most part. You need to create assets. And if income follows assets, then you need to create some information assets.
That's true. Yeah. And even like going, working for myself and getting into the life insurance space, it definitely showed me that, like, working a 9 to 5, working in corporate was definitely trading my time for money. And it's like, insurance definitely afforded me a life where I don't have to trade my time for money. Of course, you put in a lot of hours, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as like a coach and things like that. But it's things that I enjoy doing. You know what I mean? If I need to take off a day, I can. I don't have to ask anybody as an adult, can I take a 30-minute lunch or can I be off because I need to go to the doctor? And that's such like a freeing feeling, as an entrepreneur for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And now as I'm thinking through, like, talking about the social media thing, like a lot of like the doors that have been open and IMOs have been built off of YouTube and a personal brand. 95% of my clients, actually, they came through that one IMO, that it was one personal brand and a YouTube channel of podcasts talking about interviewing the agents that have had success. So if you can build an army of 15,000 people to build up an IMO, your business inside a business, your business should have some type of a social presence. And so now with the clients that we work with now, we do teach paid ads, but we also teach you how to use social media organically with the social funnel to turn your Instagram into a cash machine, a cash flow for you. Because again, you do need to have a social presence. If I'm looking to reach out to somebody, one of the first things they're going to do is Google you. Well, what links are going to pop up? It'd be nice if your Instagram was at the top and they went through and they saw, oh, Kennedy life insurance agent. Oh, well, let me see what he's talking about, what he's helping with. People are making up their mind whether they want to work with you. And it's because of that personal brand that you have created that they see you differently as just Mr. Insurance Agent, right? Which is so important. And now more than ever that we're having this transition with the FCC, I'm really hammering this home. We're in the personal brand stage right now. Like, in order to stand out, you need to have a personal brand or you're going to look like every other agent.
Exactly. Man, it's so true. And I'm glad that I went the way of the personal brand instead of having to buy leads. Because I never want to sit on the phone all day and just dial people and being hung up on. I could have worked at a call center for that. You know what I mean? So just, building that personal brand is so important. It'll take you so far. You'll be in rooms you never thought you'd be in. And I've, been around other insurance agents that came up to me in public, like, oh, I watched your videos, had no idea who they were. But if I had no social presence, they wouldn't know who I was. And when I coach agents and they ask me, do I need to have a social media? I said, do you need to? No. I mean, but name one big $1 million or $1 billion brand that does not have a social media presence. And when you can name that for me, then I'll say you don't need it.
Yeah, and it turns you from having to do a ton of outbound to like having people come to you where people just come out of you. And this is specifically for people who are not the turn and burn insurance agent that just wants a bunch of leads. If you're already doing your business by referrals and really trying to do, higher end sales and like IULs and stuff of that nature, you definitely need to have a brand so that people can consume all the content that you have. And again, the best customer is an educated customer. So if you want to be seen as the expert, you need to educate them because then they're going to associate the knowledge that they have from you. And when they decide, oh, I actually want to take a step towards seeing if I can get this, guess where they're going to go to? They're going to come to you and they're going to say, you already know, right? If somebody says they watched all your stuff, yeah, it's a pretty good chance they're going to become a client, right?
Yeah, and I love it, man. It's like they either call and say that or they call for coaching. And it's just like, I don't even have to sell them on anything. They're like, yeah, I want to sign up. I've been watching your videos for the last 2 years. And they'll pretty much tell me my story. And I always tell people buy from other people that they know, like, and trust. And, I always tell people when you're on social media, don't just post about insurance. Post different sides of you because you're not just an insurance agent. You're not just an insurance professional. You have a life. So I post when I travel. I post when I'm out with friends because I want it to be relatable. I just don't want to be seen as I just post about insurance and go to sleep because that's not realistic. I'm not Jake from State Farm. I'm not Flo from Progressive. I'm a human being and I want people to see those different sides of me.
Yeah, for sure. And that totally makes sense, man. And so let's talk through how you got to 6 figures using social media. Let's walk through some of that because people maybe watch it just like, oh, I'm not a social media person posting. And it's like, there's two sides to being on social media. There's a consumer, right? And then there's a creator, right? And so you have to treat this social media thing as a part of your business, right? So How has social media impacted your business directly to make you six figures?
Definitely with referral partners, I partner with a lot of really strong, like real estate agents, lenders, and just different people, funeral homes and spaces. And most of them found me directly on social media, as well as when I first started, I had a ton of people reaching out in my warm market about life insurance once they saw what I was doing. And I consistently get, new people following me every day asking about life insurance. I get DMs every day either about coaching or either about sales. And I think that's just been the biggest thing is just connecting with the people. And, because I'm able to connect with the people, they reach out and they get the insurance. So I would honestly say just consistently posting has helped me grow to six figures pretty fast. And I'll be honest, and I know you can attest to this, like once you get a little piece of the pie, you realize it's not hard to get to six figures.
Right.
Like, you break it down, I think it's a little under $1,960 a week. And once I figure that out, I'm like, oh, this is how much I need to make. This is how many sales I need to get a week. I just did the reverse math and then just went from there and advertised on social media and just was super consistent. I think consistency is really the key to get into that six-figure spot. Because a lot of times, some of my videos don't do amazing. Some of my videos don't do well, but that doesn't discourage me because I know the return on them. And I've done a video that didn't do well for a year. A year later, it blew up and I got 10 leads from it. So it's just like not paying attention to the numbers because you can't plant a seed in the ground and then be mad the next day when you don't have an apple tree. It takes time. You have to give it time to grow and blossom. And the algorithm will push you, I promise you, to the people that needs to see your content.
Yeah. And here's the key to that. Even if it doesn't get a bunch of views, it's so crazy that the small views that they get, it still hits the right people. You'll still get people from the videos like, oh yeah, I watched that video, and you go back and look at it and it's got 50, 40, 100 views. It still gets to, like, the only people that will watch it is the people who are interested in watching it, even if it is small numbers. And you said something about the apple tree. And that's pretty much what we're doing is we're planting seeds. And what the planting part, which is like, I'm a nerd about the science part of the science side of stuff, is it's reciprocity. See, it's give and ye shall receive. So even like if you plant the seed, like the natural thing to happen is to receive the reward, which is if you plant an apple seed, you're not going to just get one apple. You're going to get an apple tree. So at that point, you realize that this is a long-term strategy to nurture people. And then circling back to how you're able to grow your business where people actually watch your stuff and then ultimately it ends up blowing up. So you don't know which video is going to blow up. You don't know which video is going to reach anybody. What you're doing is you're sharing information to be seen as a resource. When you're seen as a resource, you're giving out all these seeds that eventually they're going to come back. You don't know when and where they're going to come back. It can be a week from now. It can be a year from now. But planting all those assets, what happens is that you have a catalog of opportunity that every single day feeds you.
Exactly. And then one thing I will say as well is like post, like, because I have a lot of events. So posting like your events as an agent on social media because you never know who's going to see it. I had someone reach out to me. I think it was earlier this week. I had an event called Cocktails and Coverage during National Life Insurance Awareness Month. I had it at a bar, sponsored the first 100 drinks. People came out and I just, talked about life insurance. We had a fun game, like a bingo game, won prizes and things like that. This gentleman reached out to me. He's a part of my fraternity in another city. And he reached out and said, I see you did Cocktails and Coverage, talking on your social media. I want you to do something like that in this city. And I have about 50 to 75 people that will be there. And I want you to talk to them about life insurance. So, even doing that event and then recording that content, having a videographer come in and record the content and post it, now I'm able to get in front of 50 to 75 more people just because of the content that I posted. And I tell people everything is content. You may think your day is boring, but post what you're doing as an insurance agent because people getting into the industry want to see it. So it's always going to be content no matter what you're doing. And it can help you get, more business.
Yeah, for sure. And to that point, right? People are just interested. They want to see what you're doing. And so you want to, if you're just posting all information, right? Like that doesn't help. You have to be seen as a normal person. And people just want to see, like, are you really like that online? And so when you post little clips of stories, people nosy, right? We're all looking for something, because we got a lot of stuff going on in life, just for a second to just kind of to take our mind off of things. And people, you'd be surprised that like people are noticing other things that they have in common. It was like, oh, he went and got his haircut, or oh, he has this type of car, or oh, he's in this city. It may be a city that you've already been to, or a restaurant where you're eating at. Like all of those things matter. And all you're doing is you're being a wealth of knowledge and information, but you're also humanizing yourself to not be Mr. Insurance person. And we teach something called the social funnel, where there's like 5 pieces of content that can take you to 6 figures. You need to have 2 pieces of content that's super informational. You need to have a couple that retarget them, and then you need to have 1 My Story video that kind of explains how you earn or how you learn what you do. And then at the end of that, you kind of explain the mechanism of kind of what the product or service that you do at a very high level. And with having those 5 pieces of content, guys are able to get to 6 and 7 figures. And again, it seems simple, but the easy things are also easy not to do. And people kind of gloss over it because it seems too simple. But again, posting content on social media, you're already on there every single day. It seems silly and you think that no one would care. But again, it's the thing that kind of makes you unique. And ultimately, that's the part of your brand and who you are, the things that you believe, the places that you go, the way that you carry yourself. So in closing, if there's a new insurance agent out there that's kind of like, well, I'm not big on social media, but I'm interested from having this conversation, where can they go to get inspiration from some of your content? And then ultimately, what piece of advice would you give somebody that kind of wants to get to 6 to 7 figures using social media, using the strategies that you're using? What would you say to them to kind of just get them started?
So to get them started, just do it. I mean, I feel like so many people just overthink, I don't look great. Like, shut up and just do it. That's honestly probably the best advice I got, was just get out there and do it. You get out what you put into anything in life. So you can't expect to post 5 videos. Well, nobody contacted me. Like, suck it up. It's entrepreneurship. It's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. It is times where I have to record content and I don't want to do it. But I just look at it as part of the marketing sector of my company. Like, I have to do this to gain business. And you just reach so many people. The peak, when I was posting every day on Instagram, I reached 500,000 people in 1 month. And I had to stop because I was getting so many leads, so many referrals and things like that. So just get out there and do it. And then all my social media platforms is Kenny J TV, all one word, my YouTube, my Instagram. I started getting on TikTok, and I've been getting some leads and referrals from there as well. I don't even have 1,200 followers up there, and I've been getting a ton of leads. And one piece of advice that I would give agents is don't focus on the big number at the top. So I don't even have 10,000 followers on Instagram, but I've been able to make 6 figures off of Instagram. So don't focus on, I have 50, 60,000 followers, because it's not going to be everyone's story. But if you're able to get in front of 2, 3, or even 4,000 people and have those people become your clients, you've been successful. So just monetize the community and the followers that you do have, and I promise you it'll take you far.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, the consistency is the key, right? It's not the person who knows the most, it's the person who shows up the most. And you got to show up for your clients of the future. And to attest what you said about the growing of the followers, last year I went all in on the personal brand in January. I had 900 followers on Instagram.
You have a lot of followers.
So I consistently posted, and I just removed all attachment to any type of result. And one little small Twitter post went viral, and it got me 60,000 followers. No, it was like it was a Twitter style post that went viral, and it got reshared. I think I had like 70 million views, 4 million likes, and like 400,000 comments and shares and saves off of this. And the thing is, you don't know which one it's going to be. And so what happened is I'm just contributing, just doing my due diligence every single day, planting seed, giving some inspiration, and using my imagination and creativity. And the algorithm rewarded me one day. I look and it's just like my phone is just blowing up. And I'm like, this is crazy. 70 million accounts reached. And one of the things that I realized is that like, oh, I didn't even do anything special. I just was consistent. And over the year, this one day or this one post rewarded me for all the work I had been doing.
So do you think you found the most consistency or the most like results from posting? Like, was it just feed posts, story posts, or like real posts?
Man, it was really just like, it wasn't like all right, I need to post this post and I need to post that. It was just being consistent and like sharing my thoughts, like the true stuff, right? Like a brain dump type thing. That's what really went viral. It wasn't even like something that I had sketched out or like, all right, I need to shoot a video today. It was really just me genuinely just like saying something like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but here it is.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, which is unique. So again, you never know also, but the thing is nowadays we're searching for authenticity. All the information that we need, all the presence and the facade that we have, we're longing for authenticity and connection now, especially coming out of the 2020 era. And so we're searching for that. We're looking for people that we can see, oh, this person is genuine, they care, and they're actually trying to help. And those things right there is what's going to take you to the top. So for life insurance agents, definitely focusing on a personal brand is going to help you. It's going to help you with more clients, help you with retention, helping you grow in your agency. And ultimately, it's a means to an end to ultimately get off the hamster wheel to buying leads. So, Kenny, man, great to have you on. I'm glad we got this one recorded this time, so I'm excited about it. We'll get this one posted. It's going to be awesome. But again, man, thank you so much. It's been a year in the making, and this is the second version of this, so this one really means a lot. Again, thank you so much for hopping on, brother. I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.